So in this video, we're going to learn how to use the air temperature and humidity sensor to get both the air temperature and the humidity. And we're going to get introduced to the idea of a function on how we can take a piece of code and reuse it over and over again. So same type of equipment that we've been using in our videos. We're going to need our Grove Shield. We're going to need a microbit. We're going to need an air temperature and humidity sensor. We're going to need our little OLED screen. We're going to need a couple of wires. And we're going to need our USB cable to transfer the file from our computer to our microbit. So this time I'm going to start with an existing program. So we have already written a program that is collecting data for my air temperature sensor. Alright, and I've already got my OLED initialized. If you don't remember how to do that, we can go back to a previous video and you can watch how we do that as a reminder. So to save time in this video, we're going to start with this program. And notice when you start with a program that you've already written and you've already installed the extensions are already there. So you don't have to add those every time. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to do a couple of things different. I am going to create something called a function. That's under my Advanced tab, and I'm going to click on Function. Notice in math it uses that f of x icon, but a function is really nothing more than a set of commands that we're going to run. So I'm going to make a new function, and I am going to call this function get data. Right? So now I've got this new block that says get data. So I want this block of code to do exactly what it says. It's going to get the data. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of my information for my forever block right now, and I am going to click on the top block and I'm going to drag all that over to my get data. So I've got my temperature sensor. I'm telling it it's a DHT22. I'm going to plug it into P0. We don't have to worry about these other things. I've got my air temperature set to round to read the data. Now what I also want to do is I want to get humidity. So I'm going to create a new variable. I'm going to call that variable humidity. Right? And now I am going to set that humidity reading to the same idea as my temperature. I'm going to go to my math block. I'm going to round. And then I'm going to go back to my temperature block. And I am going to read my humidity reading. Okay? So now this function has all the commands that I need now to collect data from the sensor. Right? So it's getting the data. Now what I want to do is have another function that's going to kind of do something with the data. And so right now all we can do is show it on our screen. So I'm going to make another function. Okay? And I'm going to say show data. So here's my show data function. Okay? So now what I want to do, I want to show this data on my screen. So I've already got from my previous program where I'm showing my straying from my OLED block. I'm showing a number of air temperature. Okay. I want to do the same thing for humidity. So I'm going to go back to my OLED. I'm going to say show string. And I'm going to say humidity equals. And I'm now going to also show a number. And that number is going to be my humidity variable. Okay. All right. So now I've got two functions. Get data, show data. Okay. Now in my forever block, all I need to do is back in my functions block. I now got these two blocks that says call. That means go get that function and run it. So I'm going to drag my call data into my forever block, and I'm going to call my show data into my forever block. Okay, and don't forget that in my onStart block, I need to make sure that I have my initialize OLED, or else my little microbit's going to error out, because if I don't tell that it has a screen and I have a screen attached to it, when it says show the data on the screen, it's going to go, what screen? I don't have any screen, and it will crash on you. Okay? Now notice I put these call functions in this order, because first thing I need to do is I need to get the data, then I need to show it. So there's a reason why those are in that order, because the forever block again runs the program straight in line. So whatever's on top runs first, so get data is going to run first, and then call show data is going to run second. Okay, now I'm going to change my name for this program. I am going to change it to air humidity data. Okay, so now let's download this, and when I download it, it automatically saves it to your account. Okay, so now this should now be in my downloads folder. Okay, there it is. Okay, now what we need to do is wire up our circuit again. Alright, so if you didn't unwire it from the last time, we are good to go. But I'm going to rewire it up just to go through the process again. Again, our temperature sensor always goes into P0. Okay, our screen always goes into I2C, or the port on the left. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is attach my microbit. Awesome. It's found it. There it is. Now I'm going to take my file that I have saved or downloaded. I'm going to drag that to my microbit. My yellow light's going to be blinking. It's now transferring the file as long as that light's blinking. Once it goes solid again, the file is transferred. Okay, now I can unplug my microbit, plug it into my shield, and then I can plug my USB into my shield, because again, remember, you have to run the program off of the shield to get sufficient power. And so now I am getting both air temperature and humidity on my screen. And if you want them to stay on the screen longer, right, just remember in your code you can change the pause to a larger reading, to 5 seconds, if you want it to stay on there for a longer period of time. Right? And again, you always can test it. Right? If you breathe on your temperature sensor, we're soon going to start to see my air temperature and humidity numbers go up. Alright, my air temperature just went to 24 Celsius. My humidity is now at 33. Now my humidity is at 100. I must have very moist air when I breathe on it, and my temperature is up to 25. Okay, so to get the humidity back down, you can just wave your humidity sensor through the air to just dry it off. And that is how we do humidity and temperature together, and through the use of functions. The nice thing about using functions is it makes your forever loop very easy to write, because now you've got all the code that's off in its own separate blocks. And now if we wanted to change this function and we wanted to use it multiple times, we change the function once, we can use it as many times as we want in the forever loop, and we'll get the same results.